Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. Just in case you're wondering, I'm up here on the mid-north coast at Nelson Bay, and I've gone for a ferry ride on this Sunday morning, and I'm on a ferry, a tiny ferry that is coming across the bay from Nelson Bay Harbour, and we're going to Tea Gardens. So it's been raining, it's been pouring all night. It's a winter's day. Surprisingly, it's not all that cold, which is good. But let's go through and do a book summary and make the most of this journey, so that we can do what we love to do here on Jim's 5am Club, and that is highlight and showcase the beauty of this country that we have, this magnificent country, and to overlay it with a message of empowerment where we can learn something new, we can indulge in some life hacks that can enable us to live, learn and pass it on. There's a couple of swans over there, which is quite romantic. So what we'll do today is we'll go through a book summary entitled 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin. Earlier on I did another book summary from the same author where she talked about the 13 things that mentally strong parents don't do, but this is another book along a similar sort of line, but it talks about the perspective from an adult's view. So the author goes on to kick off the book summary with a quote where she says that each time you avoid saying no to something that you really don't want, you give away your power. So every time you avoid saying no to something you really don't want, you give away your power. So this is about being, being a little bit more forceful in your life and learning how to say no to the things that you don't want in order to empower yourself and to give yourself the freedom to be able to live the life of your choosing. So the author's first formal point to come out of this text is that complaining that you are not getting something you think you deserve is a waste of your energy. The whole act, the whole behavioural aspect of complaining is quite useless, to say the least. So the author here reminds us that really the world doesn't owe you anything. So just complaining, whinging, whining and carrying on is something that is not going to gain you friends. It's not going to gain you any ground. So the earlier we learn in our lives that we don't waste our time complaining about things, the better off we are. Because as the author says and reminds us time and time again, and we've learnt this over our lives as well, the world doesn't owe you anything. And if you do believe that the world owes you something, you're setting yourself up for big pain. Because living a life of entitlement is just wiring yourself up for suffering as you get older. So the simple lesson from this first point is that you just need to focus on the things that you can control and go with the flow wherever you can. Fair enough, you can shape the sail, you can try and influence as best you can the direction that you're going to go in. But if you're sitting there thinking about fighting about everything and anything and everything, you're just going to have the wrong attitude, I guess, is the key lesson. The other thing that the author talks about, which is quite powerful, is the whole influence that social media, both Facebook and Instagram, is having on our lives. And the call to action is to basically kill Facebook news feeds and stop comparing yourself to others, at least for a while. This whole social media push to try and outdo each other, this posting of selfies and comparing ourselves and basically broadcasting ourselves to all and sundry, doesn't really have a strong purpose other than a negative purpose, which puts ourselves in competition, as I said before, to other people, and it basically brings out, I guess, the negativity in the world around us. So we spend a lot of time, we waste a lot of time scrolling from page to page, from news item to news item. But what it's doing is that whilst it's developing and generating a little bit of a dopamine hit, a pleasure hit, what it eventually leads to is our feeling of emptiness, and we feel bad about ourselves. So I think it's good that this author brings up this point, and I do know that I have a few friends of mine who have given up on social media. For me, I enjoy my social media. I find it as an educational tool, something that I can use to broaden my base, to connect with people in a positive way, in an educational way, a way which can help us, help me, help you, so that we can grow together and be partners in each other's development. But for many people, the whole comparison thing, the showing off, is a thing which can be described as a poison. The author here says that you're poisoning your own well by comparing yourself to others, because the Facebook persona that we have isn't very real. Because at the end of the day, Facebook and Instagram causes a comparison madness. It causes us and invites us to promote ourselves, to generate a look at me sort of culture. And at the end of the day, I think the most important point to come out of this book summary is where it shows us and it tells us that Facebook and Instagram is just a highlight reel, which doesn't really show the real life that each of us live. It doesn't show the shitty moments, and is a bad yardstick to measure ourselves and our self-worth by, because it only encourages us to compete with others in vanity metrics. Fair enough, we can have some fun, we can pass our time, and it is quite funny in some ways, and it's novel. But what it does is that it promotes vanity. And for some people, I'm not saying all people, it can cause them grief and pain. So the last point to come out of this book summary, and it's something that I really, really enjoyed learning as well and reading, and something that I can relate to, and I think we can all relate to it to a certain extent, is the importance of learning how to be okay with being alone. There's no problem with being isolated, with being alone, and sometimes there's a joy in our solitude. But sadly, society condemns people when they basically isolate themselves, even if it's for a small time. We all need our downtime, we all need our me time, and we all need to basically get out of the limelight. I myself, I enjoy socialising with people, but what I enjoy most is doing it in short bursts, where I can be with people, I can be with friends, family, but I also like excluding myself sometimes and being on my own. And I guess for me, these Jim's 5am clubs are my out, where I can be in solitude, even though I'm connected with a lot of people, potentially, through going live and being on Facebook. This is my downtime, this is my me time, where I'm, I guess, expressing myself, I'm sharing myself with others. I'm highlighting and showcasing the beauty of this country that we live in, but I'm doing it in relative isolation. It's hard to describe, and it's hard to express it in a way for people to understand. But basically, it's my way of being one-on-one with people. I'm not good at one-on-many, and I've learnt that over the years, given that I'm an only child. I grew up in a family with just mother and father and myself, and we'd have bursts where we visited other people, and I had other people in my life. But most of it is one-on-one, because both my parents were working. It was either me with my mother or me with my father, and very, very rarely did we go on holidays or did we do anything together as the three of us. That's just the reality of growing up in the 60s, when migrants had businesses to run and had families and had the family to try and manage through that process. Interestingly, the fact that society condemns solitude is because we have the thirst to living with the buzz. And we are terrified. Many people, believe it or not, are terrified of being alone. And I was like that for many, many years. And then all of a sudden now I enjoy time alone, time being with myself, going to the movies by myself, going to the beach in the morning by myself. And of course, I enjoy time with my beautiful partner, my love of my life, Paula. But what I've learnt, and what we all learn slowly through our lives as we get older, is that the world doesn't collapse. The world doesn't collapse if you're by yourself, if you're spending time with yourself. And it's a wonderful realization. It actually, it's invigorating to learn that sooner or later, the realities of life is that sooner or later we're all going to be on our own anyway as we get older, because our children grow up and things just happen. And we need to be comfortable with ourselves and to enjoy our own company, which enables us. Because what happens is, once you gain a comfort with being alone and being by yourself, you become, I guess, more inviting to be with others, because you're less intense and more able to be relatable. So it's another good book that I've enjoyed. We didn't go through the full 13 items that the author talks about. We just selected 2 or 3 because that's all we have time for. So once again, let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay reasonable, stay relevant, and let's make the most of our today. Let's make the most of the moments that we have available to us, where we can live, learn and pass it on, where we can be partners in each other's growth and development, and to be the wind beneath our wings. Just so you're aware, I'm on my way to Hawk's Nest, just to jump off, grab myself a bite to eat, and I'll head back to Nelson Bay and then continue my day. Yasas, I appreciate the opportunity of catching up, and we'll see where it leads us. So I'll head off to the back of the boat here and wish you all the very best for this Sunday. Ketaleme. Take care, everybody. Yasas. Bye for now, and we'll chat again. And then we have the beach. Then we have the bridge. Let me just show you the bridge. That's the bridge over there behind me, the Hawk's Nest Bridge. So we'll be there in about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll go for a walk and talk there, maybe see how we go. Ciao, and bye for now.